Sup my way past Brew Crew, it's me Sonic the Hedgehog, and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're doing something a bit different. We're not reacting to anything, we're not playing a game. We're reading a creepypasta. Yeah, we're reading Sonic.EXE. Yeah, I've played many Sonic.EXE games and reacted to many Sonic.EXE stuff. So it's about time we've read the original story in its entirety. So yeah, hope you will enjoy this video. Thanks for watching and I'll see you later. Bye! I'm a total Sonic the Hedgehog fan, much like everyone else. I like the newer games, but I don't mind playing the classics. I don't think I've ever played glitchy or hack games before, though I don't think I want to play any after the experience I had. It started on a nice summer afternoon. I was playing Sonic Unleashed. I liked how you get to explore the towns in it, until I noticed out of my peripheral vision that the mailman had arrived and put something in my mailbox as usual and left. I paused my game to go see what I got in the mail. The only thing in the mailbox was a CD case for computers and a note. I took it inside. I looked at the note. First I realised it was from my dear friend Kyle, who I've not heard from in 2 weeks. I know that because I recognised his handwriting, though what was weird is how it looked. It looked badly written and scratchy and somewhat difficult to read, as if Kyle was having a hard time with writing it down and did it in a hurry. This is what he wrote. Tom, I can't take it anymore. I had to get rid of this thing somehow before it was too late, and I was hoping you'll do it for me. I can't do it. He's after me, and if you don't destroy the CD, he'll come after you too. He's too fast for me. Please, Tom, destroy this godforsaken disc before he comes after you too. It's too late for me. Destroy the disc, and you'll destroy him. But do it quick, otherwise he'll catch you. Don't even play the game, it's what he wants. Just destroy it. Please, Kyle. Well, that was certainly weird. Even though Kyle is my best friend, and I have not seen him for 2 weeks, I didn't do what he asked me. I didn't think that a simple gaming disc would do anything bad to him, right? After all, it's just a game, right? Boy, was I wrong about that. Anyway, I looked at the disc and it looked like any ordinary computer CD-R disc, except it had a black mark written on it, Sonic.EXE. And it was much unlike Cal's handwriting, meaning that he must have gotten it from somewhere else, like a pawn shop or eBay. When I saw Sonic on the line of the CD, I was excited and wanted to play it, since I am a big Sonic fan. I went up to my room and turned on the computer. I put the disc in and installed the game. When the title screen popped up, I noticed that it was the first Sonic game. I was like, awesome, because like I said earlier, I like the classics. The first thing I noticed was out of place is when I hit start. There was a split second when I saw the title image turned into something much different, something that I now consider horrifying, before cutting to black. I remember what the image looked like in that split second before the game cut to black. The sky had darkened. The title emblem was rusted and ruined. The Sega 1991 was now instead Sega 666. And the water had turned red, like blood, but it looked hyper-realistic. But the freakiest thing that was in that split-second frame was Sonic. His eyes were pitch black and bleeding with 2 glowing red dots staring right at me. And his smile had stretched wide at the side of his face. I was rather disturbed about that image when I saw it, though I figured it was just a glitch and forgot about it. After it cut to black, it stayed like that for about 10 seconds or so, and then another weird thing happened. The save files select from Sonic the Hedgehog 3 popped up, and I was like, what the hell? What was this doing in the first Sonic game? Anyway, then I noticed something off. The background was that dark, cloudy sky of this bad Stardust Speedway level from Sonic CD, and there were only 3 save files. The music was like creepy caverns of winter music from Earthbound, only it was extended and seemed to have been in the reverse. And the image for the save file, when you see a preview of the level you're on, is just red static for all 3 files. What freaked me out more was the character select. It showed only Tails, Knuckles, and to my surprise, Dr. Robotnik. Now I was sure something was up. I mean, how can you play as Robotnik in a classic Sonic game, for crying out loud? And that's when I realised that this wasn't a glitchy game, it was a hacked game. Yeah, it definitely looked hacked. It was really creepy, but as a smart gamer, I wasn't scared, or at least I tried not to be. I told myself that it was just a hacked game and there was nothing wrong with that. Anyway, shaking off the creeped out feeling, I picked Fire 1 and chose Tails. And when I selected it and got started, the game froze for about 5 seconds and I heard a creepy pixelated laugh. That sounded like an awful lot like that Kefka guy from Final Fantasy, before cutting to black. The screen stayed black for about 10 seconds or more, then it showed a typical level title thing, except the simplistic shapes with different shades of red, and the text only showed Hill, Act 1. The screen faded in and the level title vanished, revealing Tails in the Green Hill Zone from Sonic 1. The music was different though. It sounded like a peaceful melody in reverse. Anyway, I started playing and had Tails start running like you would in any of the classic Sonic games. But what was odd was, as that Tails was running through the level, there was nothing but flat ground and a few trees for 5 minutes. That was when the peaceful music started to slow down into slow deep tones very slowly as I kept going. I suddenly saw something and I stopped to see what it was. It was one of the small animals lying dead on the ground, bleeding. Tails had a shocked and saddened look on his face that I never saw him have before. So I had to move along, and he kept that worried look on his face. As he kept moving, I saw more dead animals as Tails moved past them, looking more and more worried as the music lowers, and he moves past more dead animals. I was shocked to see how they all died. They looked like somebody killed them in rather gruesome ways. A squirrel was hanged on a tree, with what appeared to be his entrails hanging out. A bunny had all 4 of his limbs torn off, and a duck had his eyes gouged out and his throat slit. I felt sick to my stomach when I saw this massacre, and apparently so did Tails. After a few more seconds, there was no more animals, and the music seemed to have stopped. I still kept Tails to continue. After a minute passed, the music stopped. Tails was running up a hill, then he stopped. It wasn't until I saw why. Sonic was there, on the other side of the screen with his back against Tails, with his eyes closed. Tails looked happy to see Sonic, but then his smile faded away. Obviously noticed that Sonic wasn't responding to him, if not acting like he was totally oblivious to Tails' presence. Tails walked slowly towards Sonic, and I noticed that I wasn't even moving my keyboard to make him move, so this had to be a cutscene. Suddenly I began to have a growing feeling of dread as Tails walked closer to Sonic to get his attention. I felt like Tails was in danger and something bad was going to happen. I heard faint static growing louder as Tails was but inches away from Sonic, and stopped and stuck his hand out to touch him. That feeling in my gut was growing stronger, and I felt the urge to tell Tails to get away from Sonic as the static grew louder. Suddenly, in a split second, I saw Sonic's eyes open, and they were black with those glowing red dots, just like that title image, though there was no smile. Then that happened, the screen turned black and the static sound was off. It stayed black for about 7 seconds, and then white text appeared foaming a message saying,
"Hello, do you want to play with me?"
At this point I was creeped out. I didn't want to continue with the game, but my curiosity got the better of me when I was taken to a different level, with the level title now saying Hide and Seek. This time I was in the Angel Island level from Sonic.EXE, and it looked like everything was on fire. Tails looked as though he was scared out of his wits this time. He actually looked at me and made frantic gestures to me as he wanted to get out of the area he was in as fast as possible. I was starting to get freaked out by this. I mean, Tails was actually breaking the 4th wall, trying to tell me to get him out of there. So I pressed down on the arrow key as hard as I could and made him run as fast as he could. A pixelated version of that creepy theme when you meet Shadow at the Ark as Robotnik from Sonic Adventure 2 was playing as I made Tails trek through the desolated forest, trying to help him escape from whatever he was trying to run from. I suddenly heard that creepy laugh again, that awful Kefka laugh. Right after 10 seconds had passed, I helped Tails run through the forest, and then I started seeing flashes of Sonic popping everywhere on the screen again with those black and red eyes. The music changed to a suspenseful drowning jingle as I see Sonic behind Tails slowly gaining up on him, flying. Sonic wasn't running, he was flying. The flying pose his sprite was making looked very familiar to Metal Sonic's flying pose in Sonic CD, except it was just Sonic, and he had those black and red eyes again, only this time he had the most deranged looking grin on his face. He looked like he was enjoying the torment he was giving the poor little fox as he gained up on him. Suddenly, when Tails tripped, the music stopped as Sonic vanished. Tails just laid there and started to cry for 15 seconds. The scene was rather upsetting to watch, and I kind of teared up myself. But then Sonic appeared right in front of Tails. Tails looked up in horror. Blood started to come down those bracket eyes of Sonic as a grin slowly grew from his face. As he looked down on the horrified fox, I could do nothing but watch. Just in a split second, Sonic lunged in Tails right before the screen went black. There was a loud screeching noise that only lasted 5 seconds. The text returned, but only it said,
"You're too slow. Wanna try again?"
And then that god awful laugh came with it. I was so shocked by what just happened. Did Sonic murder Tails? No, he couldn't have. He and Tails are supposed to be best friends, right? Why did Sonic do that to him? I shook the shock off as I was brought back to the counter select. The safe out that had Tails was different. Tails was no longer in the box itself, but in the TV screen itself, which was flickering with red static. Tails' expression scared me. His eyes were black and bleeding, his orange fur had gone black, and he had an expression of anguish on his face. Trying to ignore it, I picked Knuckles next. That laugh came again, and the screen cut to black again, and stayed there for another 10 seconds. This time the level said,
"You can't run."
I was really freaked out by now. I couldn't really tell if it was a glitch, or a hack, or some kind of sick twisted joke, or anything really. But despite my fear of what happened next, I kept playing. The level looked much different than it had. The ground was of the scrap rain zone, but the sky background looked like the main menu. It had the darkest reddish cloudy sky, but it was the music that's creeped me out the most. It sounded like Geiger's theme right before you beat Pokey in Earthbound. I also noticed that Knuckles looked afraid, just like Tails, but not as much. More rather, he looked a little unnerved. He broke the fourth wall just like Tails did. He wasn't sure about going on, but I made him move anyway. He ran down the straight pathway in his dark level, and as he did, the screen started to flicker red static a couple of times, and then that maddening laugh came again. Then after a few seconds of running, I noticed several bloodstains on the metallic ground. I felt a growing sense of fear again, thinking something horrible was going to happen to Knuckles. He looked nauseated, walking down this blood-stained road, but I still kept him going. Suddenly, as Knuckles ran, Sonic appeared right in front of him with those black and red eyes, and then red static appeared again. When the static vanished, showing nothing but black text. The text saying,
"Found you."
I was now scared. Sonic found Knuckles already? What was going on? Anyway, red static came again, and then I was back to the level. Knuckles looked like he was panicking, and Sonic was nowhere to be found. And this time, that high-pitched squealing from the Siren Hill 1 final boss was playing. Was it some kind of boss battle with Sonic? I hope to God it wasn't, honestly. Suddenly, Sonic appeared right in front of Knuckles in what appeared to be pixelated black smoke. I made Knuckles turn and punch Sonic, but Sonic vanished in black pixelated smoke before I could even land a hit. That terrible laugh went off again, then Sonic appeared right behind Knuckles again, and I made him punch again, but Sonic kept vanishing, laughing. Knuckles was panicking even more, and he even felt like I was going crazy. Sonic was practically playing with us. He was playing a sick, twisted little mind game with me and Knuckles. Another cutscene appeared as Knuckles fell on his knees, crushed his head, sobbing. I felt his agony. Sonic was actually driving us both crazy. And then in a split second, Sonic lunged at Knuckles and the screen went black with another distorted screeching noise that lasted for about 3 seconds. Another text message appeared.
So many souls to play with, so little time. Would you agree?
What the hell? Just what is going on? I started to think Sonic was actually trying to talk to me through the game, but I was too scared to think that. I was brought back to the main menu, and this time, the second save file box had Knuckles in the TV screen. His red fur had darkened to a reddish grey, his dreadlocks were dripping blood, and his eyes were black and bleeding too, and he had a look of sadness on his face. I began to think that those were the actual characters trapped in those TV screens and the save files, but I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. So I shut off the game and took a break. I took a nap. Wish I hadn't, because I then began to have the most disturbing nightmare. I was in pitch black darkness, though I was under the light given off by a lamp that hung above my head. I could hear the cries of Knuckles and Tails nearby. They were saying stuff like,
Help us, and why did you give us to him? And run away, before he gets you too.
Their cries died out, and then I heard Sonic laugh again. His laugh. It sounded a lot like that distorted Kefka laugh.
You're a lot of fun to play with, kid. Just like your friend Kyle, though he didn't last long.
I was scared and looking around for the source of the voice.
Won't be long now until you join him, and all my other friends.
I saw him, walking towards me, flickering in and out in several directions.
You can't run, kid. You're in my world now, just like the others.
When he grabbed me and I saw his bleeding black and red-eyed grinning face, I woke up with a fright. After a couple hours, I decided to continue with the game. I don't know why, but I had to know. I had to figure out why this was happening. So I turned on the computer, turned on the game, and selected Robotnik next. I still thought that was wacky, playing as Robotnik, but anyway, the level tile appeared again. And this time it said ... which I found very freaky. This time I was in some kind of hallway. Didn't really look like it was from any of the classic Sonic games, though it had the pixelated style of the floor was a shiny and checkered, the walls were a dark greyish purple with animated candlelights and a few dark blood stains here and there. And there was a dark red curtain hanging above on the top part of the screen. Every 12 seconds or so, that red curtain sways very slowly, but whenever you're playing the game, you can barely see it move. The music was oddly present, a piano playing in a rather sad yet peaceful tone. But I knew better. This was a song that played in Hill Act 1, only it wasn't in reverse. Robotnik didn't look entirely nervous like Tails and Knuckles did, but he did have a very suspicious look on his face, as if he was just a bit paranoid. He did a little animation when I left him standing. He turned his head left and then he turned it to the right, at least twice, and then shrugs at me, as if he had no idea where he was or what was going on. Even though I was scared out of my mind about what was going to happen, how did Robotnik continue onwards? He did his usual running animation, you know when you've beaten him at the end of a classic Sonic game and you chase him. As we continued going through the hallway, then I stopped at a long flight of stairs leading downwards. Now I was nervous. Even Robotnik wasn't even sure about going on, but I pressed forward. As I led Robotnik down the stairs, I noticed that the walls had gone darker, more reddish. The torches are now at eerie blue. Then we landed onto another hallway. This one was a lot longer than the last one, or at least it felt like it. And then we headed down another flight of stairs down. This one was much longer. It took at least 1 full minute. And then I heard that horrid Kefka laugh again, and then the music slowly faded until it was quiet. As it did, the walls turned more dark red, and the torches were now a black flame. When Robotnik landed onto the third hallway, I noticed he now looked really creeped out, though he tried to hide it. I couldn't blame him. I was scared too. Suddenly, Sonic popped right in front of Robotnik the same way he did Knuckles, and then the red static The red static lasted for about 15 seconds, and then it showed me the most unpleasant image. The image showed a hyper-realistic of Sonic standing in the darkness where you can only see his face, while his head and torso fading into black. And when I say hyper-realistic, I mean he looked so real you could actually see the lines in his blue fur, and if you could actually feel the fur if you touched the screen. His face, oh god, he had the most horrifying smile I'd ever seen, and that's saying something considering I saw that image at the start of the game. His eyes were wide and black, and once again crying blood, which also looked hyper-realistic, and there was 2 small red dots in those black eyes staring right at me, as if staring into my mind. His grin was wide and demonic. It literally stretched to the side of his face like a Cheshire cat, except Sonic had fangs, very sharp fangs, much like the werewolf's teeth, except more vicious looking, somewhat yellowish, and from the look of it, he had the stains of blood and small bits of flesh on his lips and fangs, as if he ate some animal. I stared at that gruesome image for a good 30 seconds, never taking my eyes off it. I felt as if he was actually looking at me, smiling at me. That face, it just took 10 seconds for it to edge itself into my mind and my brain for good. Then the screen flickered with red static again 3 times, and on the 3rd time I heard the Kefgaraf, except this time it sounded distorted, demonic even. It went back to the image again, except this time there was the text again, though it was messed up. It was one of the most horrifying things I've looked at since I've had this game.
I am God.
It was when I read that image while looking at Sonic. When it hit me, I realised it right there and then. This Sonic was a monster, a pure evil, sadistic, all-powerful, nightmarish, demented monster, and all of his victims, including Tails, Knuckles, Robotnik, and possibly Kyle, are just his little toys, and the game is the very gateway to his chaotic and nightmarish world, and the very hell his victims are trapped in. Suddenly, in an actual split second, I screamed as Sonic lunged at the screen, screeching loudly with his mouth wide open to an unnatural length, revealing nothing but a literal spiraling abyss of pure darkness, before the red static came again, this time much louder and distorted, so loud that it hurt my ears. I yelled and grabbed my ears as the red static screeched for a good 7 seconds. Then it stopped and showed nothing but black screen. As I sat there, staring at the black screen, one last text came up.
Ready for round 2, Tom?
The Kefgaraf, now sounding more clear as if Sonic was right behind me, played again 3 times as I looked at that text in shock and confusion. Then I got booted back to the main menu, and this time the 3rd save file had a TV image of Robotnik in the same tormented state as Tails and Knuckles. Robotnik's skin turned a dull grey, his moustache drooped, and his blackened, and his glasses broke, and blood coming from them, and he had a mere dead expression on his face. I looked at Tails, Knuckles, Robotnik, and I cried a bit. I pitied them for the agony they're going through. They were forever trapped within the game, forever tormented by the horrid hedgehog, and always will be. Then the computer shut itself off. I couldn't turn it back on no matter what I did. I sat there for maybe 25 seconds, horrified by what just happened. Sonic is the very embodiment of evil. He tortures people who plays his game in more ways than one, and when he gets bored, he drags you into the game, literally drags you to hell, where he can play with you, always, as his toy. I can't get the game out of my computer. I think it's stuck in there, but at least I managed to turn it back on now. After I sat there for 25 seconds, I heard a voice behind me, like a whisper.
Try to keep this interesting for me, Tom.
I turned around to see where the voice came from, and what I saw made me scream. Sitting on my bed, staring right at me, was a Sonic plushie, smiling, with bloodstains under its eyes.